Welcome to Tales of Honor, a podcast with a mission to tell the true stories of every recipient of our nation's highest military award, the Medal of Honor. Hello everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Tales of Honor podcast. I have no birthdays to go over and no news as well to go over, so let's jump right on into today's episode number 418, once again going back to World War I. Deming was born on the 8th of July, 1894, in Rhinelander, Wisconsin, and after high school, he attended the University of Washington. There, he played football and studied forestry, graduating in 1916 before joining the U.S. Army in Seattle. Deming deployed to Europe in support of the Great War, and it was his actions in France that would earn him the Medal of Honor. The citation reads, "For conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity above and beyond the call of duty, in action with the enemy. On the morning of 26 September, during the advance of the 364th Infantry, First Lieutenant Bronson was struck by an exploding hand grenade, receiving deep cuts on his face and back of his head. He nevertheless participated in the action, which resulted in the capture of an enemy dugout, from which a great number of prisoners were taken. This was effected with difficulty and under extremely hazardous conditions because it was necessary to advance without the advantage of cover and, from an exposed position, throw hand grenades and phosphorus bombs to compel the enemy to surrender. On the afternoon of the same day, he was painfully wounded in the left arm by an enemy rifle bullet, and after receiving first aid treatment, he was directed to the rear. Disregarding these instructions, First Lieutenant Bronson remained on duty with his company through the night, although suffering from severe pain and shock. On the morning of the 27th September, his regiment resumed its attack, the object being the village of Éclisse-Fontaine. Company H, to which First Lieutenant Bronson was assigned, was left in support of the attacking line, Company E being in the line. He gallantly joined that company in spite of his wounds and engaged with it the capture of the village. After the capture, he remained with Company E and participated with it in the capture of an enemy machine gun, he himself killing the enemy gunner. Shortly after this encounter, the company was compelled to retire due to the heavy enemy artillery barrage. During this retirement, First Lieutenant Bronson, who was the last man to leave the advanced position, was again wounded in both arms by an enemy high-explosive shell. He was then assisted to cover by another officer who applied first aid. Although bleeding profusely and faint from loss of blood, First Lieutenant Bronson remained with the survivors of the company throughout the night of the second day, refusing to go to the rear for treatment. His conspicuous gallantry and spirit of self-sacrifice were a source of great inspiration to the members of the entire command. Deming was eventually brought to the rear for treatment of the wounds to his face, back of head, and both arms, and was sent back to the States to recover. He married Dorothy in 1925, and 4 years later, on the 19th of November, 1929, received the Medal of Honor from President Hoover. Deming worked in Ohio and New Jersey as an executive for a paint company before working in the family lumber business in Oregon. If you remember back to episode 189 of this podcast, I told the story of Gregory Boyington and that he was honored on a memorial at the University of Washington. There was some controversy around the memorial, as it was originally supposed to be a memorial to just him, but the Student Senate had defeated this resolution, stating that the university already had many monuments to, quote, rich white men, even though Boyington had partial Sioux ancestry and was not rich. It was also questioned if the university should memorialize a person who killed others and, quote, didn't believe a member of the Marine Corps was an example of the sort of person the University of Washington wanted to produce. I bring this up because ultimately the memorial was built and privately funded, and it was decided to honor all Medal of Honor recipients that had attended the university. Deming's name appears on this memorial with the inscription, quote, ordinary individuals facing extraordinary circumstances with courage and selflessness to answer the call and change the course of destiny. Deming Bronson died on the 29th of May, 1957, at the age of 62, in Roseburg, Oregon, and is buried with his wife in Arlington National Cemetery, Section 30, Grave 500-2. And that was a tale of honor. Thank you for listening to Tales of Honor, and if you enjoyed the show, please be sure to subscribe and tell your friends and family. Tales of Honor is written and produced by Christoph Ambrosch, and theme music is Loyalty and Duty by Floruz Music. If you have any questions, you can send an email to talesofhonorpodcast@gmail.com, and please be sure to visit talesofhonorpodcast.com for more episodes and information.